Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome back for another episode of the Networking RX podcast. I am your host, Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Today we're going to talk about referrals. I'm going to touch base on something that I found online. If you've been a longtime listener of this program, you know we've had as a guest, we've interviewed on a number of occasions, 3 or 4, I've lost track, a gentleman by the name of Matt Ward. And Matt is a professional speaker. He's a word-of-mouth referral consultant. And he's the author of the book More, Word of Mouth Referrals, Lifelong Customers, and Raving Fans. I've been following Matt's work since we met. It was the summer of 2019, I believe. It was a while ago. Struck up a great relationship, a lot of introductions, contacts, opportunities referred back and forth. He's a franchisee in AmSpirit Business Connections, but he is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to referrals, how to get referrals, how to keep them flowing. One of the things he's done, actually I should say one of the many things he's done, because if you go to his website, breakthrough-champion.com, it is literally a treasure trove of various videos, blog posts, insights, assessments. It goes on and on and on. It's just all sorts of stuff that you can use to become better with respect to getting referrals, being more top of mind, being more referable, word of mouth sorts of things. It's ongoing. He's always, if you subscribe to his stuff, there's always a new video coming out, always very insightful, kind of getting you think about the best days to network, the best things to do when you're in these situations, lots of stuff. So I encourage you to hop on his website, breakthrough-champion.com, Matt Ward. But one of the things that he has out there, which I had stumbled upon, he had sent to me, was a couple of resources called Fire Up Your Referral Engine. And there's really two things. There are two resources. One is 7 things you can do in under 5 minutes to increase your referrals. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to go through those 7 things. He shared those with me. You put your name in, and it shoots these things out to you. The 7 things you can do in under 5 minutes to increase your referrals is the one thing. The second thing that it shoots out to you, which is really neat, which I'm not going to talk about in this episode, but he's got a referral revenue calculator. Really a neat thing. I don't want to steal any thunder. I'm going to try and get him on the program for next episode and have him talk about this calculator, where it came from, how it all works. It's really kind of a neat thing, and it really underscores that there is truly a value to the referrals you get, and if you can do certain things, you're going to pump up that value. Again, enough on that. Now, I'm going to include in the show notes a link to these resources so you can go and get them yourself and certainly review them and have them. But what I want to do today is I want to go through this resource he has, 7 things you can do in under 5 minutes to increase your referrals. So I went out there, I went on the site, loaded my information, and it kicked out these 2 documents to me. And this is just a short little PDF, Fire Up Your Referral Engine in just 5 minutes per day. And we're going to review these, but you'll see that each of the things that he talks about, and again, Matt is very resourceful, each of the things he talks about are really useful and can be done quickly. And that's the key. A lot of times when people tell you need to do this or that, it's stuff that's really kind of hard to make happen. You really kind of have to invest a lot of time. These are real simple things. So let's go through these 7 items. The first one is email a useful business article to a contact with a personal note on why you thought of them. So in other words, let's say you're reading online, there's articles everywhere on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you find an insightful article on interior decorating or how to stage your home. And you know of somebody who works doing that, or you have a colleague or a client that's thinking about selling a home, and you send that article off to them. That's adding value to them. They may have seen that article. Chances are they didn't. There's so much information out on the website. It's such an easy thing to do to find these articles, to be top of mind with people. I know some people are really good with respect to referrals. What they will do is they'll just have a running list of, it's kind of a little black book of people that they need to do something for, and that just kind of keeps them on their radar, keeps those people on their radar, and then they'll keep track of when they do something for somebody. And they can look on that list real quickly and see, oh, geez, I haven't done something for Brian in a long time. Maybe if I see an article, or I'll go search for an article that will be useful for them. But that really kind of keeps you top of mind of somebody. And he has little bonus items in here. And the bonus is you get a bonus point for printing it out and mailing it. Mailing it with a handwritten note. I think that carries some extra weight. It's certainly easy to go and email something, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But the bonus is if you print it out, or you make a copy out of a magazine, put a handwritten note on there. Hey, I thought of you. Put it in an envelope, handwrite the envelope, put a stamp on it. People get that kind of mail. It really kind of raises their level of awareness about you. And again, that's what the purpose of this is to put you on somebody's radar and allow you to be on that radar, so they're thinking of you when something comes along that benefits them. Second thing he's got on here, check out your business contacts, business Facebook page, and share their next event on your page. Go on your contacts, your business contacts. These can be people who refer you business. These can be people who you refer business to. These can be just people that you know, people who are vendors for you. But if you find out they've got an event, they've got something going on, an open house, whatever it might be, you go ahead and share it on their page. Or maybe it's an article about them. They won an award. You go ahead and share that. Go ahead and share that on your page. Help them promote the event. They'll see it. They'll know it. And that will raise your level of awareness. That'll kind of score you a point in their mind. Again, it's a real simple thing to do. You have businesses who are doing things all the time. I was emailing with a colleague this morning, and I noticed that she has a link in her signature to events that they do. So it's an easy thing for me to go in there, see what the events are, and I can see what those events are, and I can send them off to people that I know. So it's almost like a double bonus. Hey, Brian, here's an event you should be looking into. Not only am I doing something for Brian, but I'm also doing something for my colleague that I'm sharing their information. Now, the bonus point that Matt Ward offers or suggests is you get a bonus if you attend. So if it's an actual event, or maybe it's a virtual event, but if you actually attend, then you get a bonus point for that. Number 3, invite a colleague to accompany you to a networking event you plan to attend. I've often said this, that walking into an event is hard. A lot, with respect to AmSpirit Business Connections, I say it all the time. The toughest thing our members do is walk through the door for the first time, because they have no idea what they're walking into. They just, you can kind of prep them on the front end, but they really don't have an idea as to who's going to be there, how they're going to be treated. They're walking into a room of strangers, and it's apprehensive. And that's true of any networking event. And so you have people who are somewhat apprehensive about going to events. But if you reach out to them and say, listen, I'm going to be going to the Business First breakfast. Let's meet. Let's go in there together. Let's hang out. Let's meet there. Let's have a cup of coffee. Yeah, we'll talk to other people, but it'd be a great way for us to catch up, us to connect with people that we know, and then introduce each other to people that we know that the other might not know. So it's certainly a great way of catching up with somebody, networking with new people, helping somebody get into a networking event. And the bonus that Matt has here is if you offer to give them a ride. And sometimes that's the easiest thing of all. Hey, I'll just meet you at your office. We'll go together, which could be a whole lot easier than kind of waiting outside the door for the other person to show, which is even easier than going into the event and hoping that you run into the person when you're there. Okay, moving on. Number 4, what Matt Ward suggests is visit grubhub.com and send some treats from a local bakery to your contact's office next Friday. Doesn't have to be bakery treats. It's really kind of the thought that counts. Doesn't have to be a Friday. Maybe it's an accountant. I know a payroll company on Saturdays, that's their thing, is they go from their accountant's office to their accountant's office and they deliver donuts. They're just known for doing that. That's what they do. You can expect, if you're an accountant during the busy season, if you're in the vicinity of this particular payroll company, they're going to be by with donuts. That's what they do. So kind of a simple thing, if you're familiar with Grubhub or not. I'm not sure if it's in all areas. But do something extraordinary for your client. The bonus point that Matt offers here is order their favorite bakery treat, not yours. Fair enough. Who doesn't love donuts? Who doesn't love cupcakes? But it's neither here nor there. It's just kind of going out of your way a little bit to kind of recognize somebody. It's not a big deal. Donuts aren't real expensive. Maybe it's cookies. Maybe it's popcorn. There's a lot of different options for something like this. Maybe it's fresh fruit. Who knows? It could be a cup of coffee. But just thinking of somebody and getting them something that they're going to enjoy that doesn't really promote what it is you're doing, but it kind of keeps you on their radar, so they will know next time. They'll know next time an opportunity for you comes along. When I was in public accounting, my background, I started my career in public accounting. My bosses, one boss in particular, would say, "Listen, if you ever get the chance, just stop by your client just to say hello." And I just like, okay, that's really kind of weird. That just seems intrusive. But he said it enough, and I figured I would do it. And I stopped in, and I went to see the client, and they were just happy to see me. And they had a couple of questions, and I wasn't going to bill them for it. But on the heels of that, I was on top of mind for them, and then they called up and said, "Hey, we were thinking about it. We have this project we really need your help with." And it wasn't a huge project, but they just needed some help with it. So anyhow, just another way to kind of get on people's radar and stay on that radar. The fifth item, hop on Yelp or Facebook and leave a review for a company whose good service you've appreciated. It's nice to feel appreciated. It just is. It's nice to feel appreciated. It really goes a long way if you take the time to appreciate somebody, knowing that. If you know it's how good it feels to be appreciated, it's nice to have somebody just tell you how appreciated they are. It's even bigger when that appreciation is spread amongst other people. We're basically getting on your electronic soapbooks, be it Yelp or Facebook, and just saying, these people did a great job for me. Maybe it's a review on LinkedIn, a testimonial on LinkedIn. Those things carry a lot of weight, and people remember them. Now, it may not have an immediate payback, but in time, they're on your radar, and they're going to refer you off to somebody else. It's a good habit to get into, leaving reviews. And again, all these things are easy to do. 5 minutes. You stumble across somebody's post. You know what? I did business with them, or you wrapped up doing business, and you just go out and you find their stuff. Now, Matt's bonus point here is if the company's an ideal source of referrals for you. That certainly helps prime the pump with respect to getting things back to you. The sixth thing he has is think of a business book that impacts you. Now purchase that book from Amazon, ship it to you, personalize the message inside the front cover, and ship that to your contact. For years, I've written books. For years, I've sent people a copy of my book when I've met them. And Matt was kind of the one who enlightened me on that's not a bad thing, but it's really kind of promotional. And you're better off to have someone else's book to share with them. And so I have stacks of my own book to share, and I also have stacks of other books that I've purchased that I will routinely hand out. They're not my books. I have The Resilient Leader by Christine Parakis. I have Mike Malkowitz's Fix This First. I have Berta Medina's Become Competition Proof. I have these various books that I will send out to people. And whenever I do, certainly when I send mine out, I get a reaction. But when I'm sending out one that's not mine, I get a much more genuine reaction. Yeah, people certainly appreciate getting my book, but they have to wonder, or they probably wonder, okay, what's the alternative motive here? Is this leading to something? He's trying to tell me something. But when I send them somebody else's book, it's just kind of something that they're, something that's a little more special to them. So certainly encourage you to do that. One of the habits you can get into is when you buy a book for yourself, just buy another copy so you have an extra copy, and then there's always something you can be sending out. And then maybe you read that book, and when you're reading that book, somebody might come to mind. Somebody might be this would be perfect for, I'm picking on the name Brian today. This would be perfect for Brian. I'm going to send my extra copy to Brian. Just something to think about, just to help you. And again, it doesn't take you any longer to order 2 books than it does 1. It doesn't take much time to personalize that book and send it off to somebody else. Or when you go visit them at their office, hand it to them. They might have an open house, hand them a copy of the book. Simple thing to do. Okay, Matt's bonus points here are if you know in advance that the contact is interested in the book or topic. That's always helpful. That's always helpful, if you can really get them something that is of interest to them. And it comes back to listening to your network and knowing what they're about. The Resilient Leader by Christine Parakas, I'm tending to send that to strong women that I know out there, women who have overcome great challenges, because that's what that book is really about. And I know that it'll speak to them. Know your audience, as you should always know your audience. Or what you might want to do is if somebody's top of mind, just go to Amazon and find a book for them. It's really that simple. The last thing is, he asked, do you listen to podcasts? Share a list of your favorite with a colleague. Very similar to item 1 where you share an article. I will, from time to time, share a link to a podcast episode that I think is really relevant to somebody. I listened to this, it made me think of you. I listened to one on organ donation, and I know a woman who I intend to get on the program here, intend to have on the program here shortly, who donated a kidney to somebody, to a total stranger. We'll talk on that in a future episode. But when I listened to that podcast episode, I had to forward that on to her because it made me think of her. And I thought she would really think that was of interest. And obviously she was touched that I thought of her and that it was something useful that she could listen to, something that she was interested in. But share good podcasts with people, help them source through information. Not every one of my episodes is great. Some aren't even good. I don't know. But if some of mine are great, I would hope people would share them on. Likewise, I will listen to other podcasts, and their episodes run the gamut. Some are really strong and some aren't. Some are really interesting, some aren't. The ones that are really strong and interesting, I will forward on to somebody else. And it's a real simple thing to do, to just email or even just text them the episode. The bonus that Matt has here is if your contact has their own podcast, then leave them a review on iTunes. That's a big thing. If you're listening, please leave me a review on iTunes. I would love that. But beyond me, if you know of other people with podcasts, get on there and give them a review. That's a huge help. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it's a huge help when it comes to the rankings within iTunes. So that's Matt's list. Fire up your referral engine in just 5 minutes a day. There are 7 things there. I will leave a link in the show notes that you can go ahead and get this PDF yourself and just have it, send it on. There's a link at the bottom if you want to talk with Matt. He's always open to having a conversation, learning about people's business. If you're looking for a speaker, whether it's in person or virtual, he's an awesome speaker. But finally, to wrap up, remember AmSpirit Business Connections. We have a unique franchise opportunity. It involves helping small business professionals become more successful through a referral-based networking program. It only involves a couple hours a day or a couple hours in the morning, a few days a week. And it's a great franchise for an attorney, accountant, realtor, business coach, consultant to add on to what they're already doing. And at the same time, get better networked. So why just be a renter when you can own the entire apartment complex? Why just be in a business network? Why just be in a chapter of somebody's network when you can own the business network? If you or someone you know would like to learn more, please contact me using the email at the end of this podcast or the one we provide in the show notes.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.